Oh, guys, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for the work that you're doing.
We need to get a copy of that picture. When they said $10,000, I thought that's a lot of money to be put into my hands and decide where that should be going. It's 5 versus 5 already.
The point of this class is to take $10,000 from Duke University and figure out how to distribute it to nonprofit organizations in the Durham community. We actually do site visits, we analyze financial statements, we do interviews, all sorts of things with these nonprofits using our research skills, but then figuring out how to allocate that money.
I think that's fair. You're visiting Shift NC today, which is a nonprofit in Durham that focuses on sexual education resources to students with disabilities.
Hey, hello. Come in. I think we're expecting you.
So these green bags here are swag bags. So they get like some headphones, water bottles. They also get some condoms in there, and we know that they don't like to have condoms like out in the open, so they're discreetly packaged.
Their project is just really unique. They want to build a sexual education curriculum for mentally and physically disabled students and implement that into the public school system. We have 2 separate recommendations. The first recommendation is to allocate $6,225
Based on our suggestions right now, we're giving away $7,500 more than what we have. I think we're going to find a way to be able to give everyone a little bit of money, but it definitely depends on how this all goes.
So the first thing that I'd like to explore is for you to get into your teams and think about whether you could reduce the amounts that are recommended for these 3 organizations.
So if you go below 5,000, you're not even really funding this project. It's not going to happen without that really bare minimum. One way that we can look at it is how many people are we going to affect?
Well, the students face a lot of trade-offs. One is, do you want to make an impact very deeply on a specific person's life, or do you want to have perhaps a more shallow impact but on a number of people's lives?
And Shift NC, a big part of what they do is not just, like sexual health education and advocacy, but also that targeted towards specific members of the population that don't have access to those resources.
And then another trade-off that they started to recognize is some of these organizations, in terms of their finances, seem to be stronger than others.
They maintain about $1.8 million in assets.
And then that was another trade-off. Do they want to give their money to an organization that seems weaker in those ways, or would they want to take the safer bet and invest that money and put that money into organizations that had more of a track record?
And they also are the receptacle for. It was tough because you had to be objective and you had to take into account the Charity Navigator stats and financial performance over the years, and that's a hard thing to reconcile with the human connection and the element that you see at the site visits and all the good that they're doing in the community. So yeah.
After careful deliberation, we have actually decided we have the same plan as this team here, which is to split the money so that all organizations get a piece of the pie.
The skills that I learned in this class I think are going to be incredibly useful. I personally want to do human rights work internationally, working for nonprofits or doing government consulting, helping organizations figure out how to achieve success. What does success look like and how do we get there? And going through this class, and those are the exact issues we talked about. How do we measure success? How do we fund projects in a way that will bring about success? And that's exactly what I'm going to be doing as I continue to work for organizations like these in the future.